Anybody have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Questions?
No, sir. No questions. But I am a resident of Pineville, and I want to thank this mayor for being here tonight because he's the mayor of Alexandria. I would love to see my mayor here because this, the way we feel, I feel, nobody but Mary Vincent. I feel like this, whether it's Huey P or any hospital, we need a hospital in Pineville. I wouldn't want to dump my problems on this mayor when I have a mayor in Pineville. I don't want to go to Cabrini or other hospitals. We need the hospital. Charity, we just need a hospital. We got a mayor, we should have a hospital. I mean, maybe we're going to be like the hospital. The residents just going to shut down and die because we got to go to court to settle the issue. We don't need that. We just need a hospital in Pineville.
Amen.
Address what you said because I think it's important for
parents.
I want to tell you guys, I know y'all ready to go. First, I asked Vance and Robert, I told them they should have Robert here because I'm not sure anybody fought as hard in the legislature as he did for this. And I want y'all to know I was there when he spoke. I was in the gallery watching it. And there was no question about who won the debate. Unfortunately, as all of you know, you can win a debate, and it doesn't mean that you win the day in the legislature because it's just how it works. But she brought up something very important about having service here on both sides of the river. And I want all of you to know, because I don't want you to leave thinking that the mayor of Pineville isn't here for some. I talked to him, and he wanted me to share if I did speak. And it's something we both deal with. A lot of the things you guys are talking about, they're critical, and there's no question about it. From the standpoint of jobs to every other point that you've made and service being provided, these are all very critical issues. But I'm going to give you a little different take in something that Clarence has had to live through. He's had to live through closures of multiple major government infrastructure in the city, and he isn't asked whether it's okay to close it. He is told by Baton Rouge it's closing, and he has to scramble to do something. He wants all of you to know, and I talked to him moments before I walked in. He could not be here. He has something family related that he had to do, but he has always said he wants the services to be provided. And that's the important thing. If he fights and if he goes and punches at the governor while they're trying to get funds to redo some things, he's in a tough spot, and we all are. And I wanted Vance and Robert to be here to tell you that. But look, the hospitals are trying to step up. Your two private hospitals. And Robert hit this hard in the legislature, but he hit it a little bit today. But I need y'all to understand something. The hospitals are stepping up, the private guys, to try to do things to cover this. But if the legislature doesn't fund their activity, their private hospitals, guess what happens? Guess what happens? And this is known, ladies and gentlemen. This is already in the testimony. This is already in front of the committees. I want y'all to understand something. This was sold as savings to you. Correct. So I want you to get past for one moment. Not that you should suspend beliefs to the point where you don't think it's about taking care of folk who need help getting taken care of. Don't ever suspend it. But for one moment, set that aside, and let's look at it from the standpoint of those folks who say it's about money, right? Because that's what they always say. We're going to provide a better service to you for cheaper, and it's about the money. Guess what? It costs more to close it over the same amount of years as it did to leave it open. Now look, that doesn't mean traditional health care delivery doesn't have to change. It's happening all over the country. I know we're proud of our charity system. I don't know the answers to that. But I know how quickly they ran this through was not the answer. Just a few years ago, Sandra's not ahead, she remembers, we were all at Huey P at the England Air Park being told that this was to replace some things in the traditional service models that weren't working, but that a subsidized health access component would be part of the overall delivery system. And they went on and said, look, we're going to make sure that this is there. We all went and stood there, Robert. The governor asked us to come cut the ribbon. There was supposedly an agreement in place. It didn't happen. Now, I'm here to tell you, I sat in the Senate chambers, I sat in the little rooms at the conference room, and we were told things over and over. It didn't happen. I'm not going to make it horribly personal. I think you've had a few shots across the bow here today in that regard. But I will tell you guys, this was not vetted how you vet something. It doesn't, I hate to say it, it didn't take the case to do it, but I applaud you guys for doing it. This is in education and in multiple arenas where things are being passed. How many things have been passed in this administration that have been struck down as unconstitutional? I mean, multiple cases where this is happening. And that's a problem. And that's a problem. Y'all need to understand the CMS decision with Congress that's looking at this and whether there's going to be an unintended over-subsidization of private health care from this, they're going to still have an issue in it. So we're not out of the woods on whether this will happen at all yet. I just want you guys to know process is as important in public life as is the substance you get to. Process is as important. Everybody talks about transparency, but the reason for process is to create a level playing field for everybody, right? That's one component of it. And it's to let people know how a decision is made. Not just announce the decision, it's to let you know when the decision is being made, what's going in. Is junk going in? Because if you put junk in, junk's going to come out. And so that's very important, and I think that's been missed. And I want you all to know that people are going to fight for you guys. It did not save money in this deal. Robert can articulate that argument as well as anybody who ever talked to. But if it was all about the money, and I don't want to be partisan about it. In fact, I'm proud to see Vance here, our congressman who's here, as a Republican, pointing that out. He's also for the Medicaid. He's made it clear about expansion, which I thought was a brave thing for him to do. But if it's about money, guys, that's not even true what they're telling you. It's more expensive to close it in the same hall as it would have been. And those contracts, by the way, with gaps in them, Robert?
30 blank pages.
30 blank pages, according to some testimony. What happens when that gets filled in and it doesn't make economic sense for Cabrini Rapides? What do you think happens if it doesn't make sense? They can't be commanded to do it. So we're not out of the woods yet. I hope y'all continue to fight, but I want you to know that there's a serious problem with the provision of these services that we're not even really hitting it all the way yet, and it's still coming. So on behalf of Mayor Fields and my office, I want you to know that he wanted you to know. He stands by to help the system do whatever it has to do to make a correction. I know he didn't like the process either and how it occurred, but I think we're going to have to face. I don't think it gets easier before it gets better. I think if y'all win this whole case, and I hope you do, here's the trick they pulled on you. They defunded it. Robert knows this. If they never put money in it, you're going to have a problem. You see, they brought it up. If you pass a law, you've got to pass a law to undo a law. What they did was they passed the law, and by resolution, first they defunded it, and then they said we're closing. And that's where the legal argument is. But the truth is, let's say you win everything. If your legislature, forget the governor for right now, your legislators appropriate the money. So the governor, I understand that, and we want to put all the fire in that, but if your legislature, your local legislators don't appropriate the money, it doesn't happen anyway. So you've got to be fighting on multiple fronts. Legal, legislative, I don't know about the governor's office, but legislative and legal you've got to do. Thank y'all so much.